This program is pre-recorded. It's time for Atlanta Up Close with Dr. Maria Boynton. Our weekly look at what's going on in our community, public safety, affordable housing, employment, and more. If it matters to you, we're talking about it. Here's Dr. Maria Boynton.
Hey everybody, it's Maria Boynton. Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Atlanta Up Close. Today we have an old friend, someone we are so happy that she is back with us, sworn in as the mayor of the city of South Fulton on January 5th, 2026. None other than Madam Mayor Carmalitha Gumbs. How are you?
I am wonderful, Maria. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I mean, you've now had several months in office. Talk to us now. I mean, you're old friends. What's the biggest difference you've been able to make so far, you feel?
Oh, my goodness. I feel like I've aged so much. But what I will tell you is that it is a lot different being a council member. I get to see everything up close now. So I see everything that's happening in the entire city. So that has been a very big difference because once you are drilled down to your district, you really focus on those issues. But being the mayor, you had to take care of the whole city. So I see everything up, live, and personal.
So everyone, I want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Atlanta Up Close. We have the mayor here, Mayor Gumbs from the city of South Fulton. We're going to talk to her about the first months in office and how everything is going. But we're also going to talk to her about, issues that she wants to share with us. One being, of course, the issue of data centers. As a matter of fact, this whole show, this whole hour-long show is about data centers. We have the mayor here today. We also have a citizen activist here in the second part of today's hour-long program. So let's get back to it. Mayor Gumbs, you talk about the difference you've been able to make so far. When residents look at South Fulton today, what should they see that say is different from when you first took office?
I think the energy is real. I think residents are proud of their city. We are involving them in a lot of areas of transparency, showing them what the city can do. So there's a lot of excitement right now. We want to build a city where we're about community, and that's what's happening. So they're excited. You
served on city council prior to being elected as the mayor. So what has surprised you the most about being mayor compared to when you were serving on city council?
I didn't realize how busy the mayor is. So I will tell you that is probably the biggest thing. Everybody wants to, know what's happening in South Fulton. They want to spend time. They want to build their business. So when I say the excitement and the energy is real, it's truly real.
She's the city of South Fulton mayor, Carmalitha Gumbs. So what would you say, Mayor Gumbs, has been most difficult for you? I mean, the most difficult issue you've encountered, say, since you took office?
I would say managing people's expectations. What has always been challenging, the residents in the city of South Fulton have been disenfranchised. We became a city almost 10 years ago. So they want their voices heard, and that can be challenging in any local government. So I think that has been the biggest thing. Our residents see me possibly as a savior, that they've been looking for somebody like me to come in, and I'm a very approachable mayor. So when you have to manage people's expectations, I think that has been probably the most challenging thing. And me being who I am, I want to help everybody. In some instances, it got to make sense.
What about expectations? When you say you can't manage people's expectations, but is the city where you expected it to be at this point in your administration?
I think we're in a good place. Being here as the mayor, I'm able to see things in a different light. It's not as bad as people may have think. There are some ways that we can improve processes and make it more efficient so government can work for all. But I think the city is in a good place. We have some things that we can work on and improve, and that's what I'm looking forward to doing.
We talked to you about what would you do in your first 100 days? We like to ask politicians, those who are running for office, that now you promised a 100-day departmental assessment. So what did you learn in that process?
We have some work to do. There are some departments that I really want to fix, and that will help us with our economic development. Of course, that is our CDRA, which is our main planning department. Wanting to streamline that service, wanting to make our city more business friendly, and wanting people to come to our city to do business or land their business there. That has been challenging because some people don't want to invest because they have to go through the arduous process of going through the city, through the planning department. But we're coming up with some good policies as well as streamlining that process to help, the residents as well as business owners to come do business in South Fulton.
Anything else that concerns you the most?
I'm ready to get a new police chief. We've been going through a round of interviews, but I am being very intentional about getting the right person to be in our city to lead our police department. So we should be rounding that out very soon, and hopefully we'll have a new police chief within the next couple of months.
What type of person are you looking for?
Someone that is relatable, someone that can rail in the troops, someone that will be about community and understand the importance of public safety to the residents.
You have some officers who are making themselves known on social media right now.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, it lets me see the personalities of the officers, that they're not just, hardened men and women of the police force, but they have personalities.
Yes. It has taken off. It's like they're say twin, so anywhere they go, they're recognized. But they are doing great work with community engagement, and that is intentional because we want our residents and even the nation to see that we have officers that are approachable, that they don't have to be intimidated. And if there are questions or concerns, our officers are out there and really answering the questions. So if you have a question, how did I get a ticket? Why it takes so long to write a ticket? Our officers are there to say, this is what happens. If there's issues with traffic, anything, they're showing in real time who they are as our officers in South Fulton. And it's done so well that it's, on wildfire with other agencies across the state of Georgia.
We talk about your 100-day plan. I mean, what can residents point to now and say, this happened, that happened because of her 100-day plan?
Well, one of the things, the business engagement has really increased. We are working extremely hard. We did an assessment of the businesses that are in the city of South Fulton and making sure that they come into compliance. That is low-hanging fruit. That's revenue for our city. We've done that. We're bringing these businesses into compliance, so we're getting revenue off of that. We had an excellent internship program. We have the mayor's office is launching the small business initiative, where we're really focusing on entrepreneurs, small businesses, helping them have resources, providing workshops. So we're doing the work. Our crime is relatively low. As I've stated before, South Fulton still remains the safest city in Georgia. I'm just ready to get a police chief.
Why do you feel it's necessary to help the small business entities?
Well, the small businesses are the fabric of our community. I mean, they help us with everything. I want people to understand that as an entrepreneur, it takes a lot. I'm a small business owner, and if you don't have the right network, if you don't know who to call, you're just out there kind of by yourself, and that is a terrible place as an entrepreneur, and your business won't thrive. My job as the mayor is to let you know South Fulton is ready for you. We want to be able to help you and have your business thrive. So that's why it's important.
You say that you are ready yesterday for a new police chief. How is that search being conducted? Is it nationwide, statewide, local?
It is a national search. We've had some applicants. We've looked at them. The council even interviewed them as well. So I think that is another thing that we're being collaborative and intentional about who we bring into this next seat as a police chief. We had a lot of controversy with the last one, so we want to make sure that we get it right.
Okay, everyone. She, of course, is the mayor of the city of South Fulton, Carmalitha Gumbs. You campaign, I remember, too, about rebuilding trust, Mayor Gumbs. So how do you measure whether residents actually trust City Hall more today?
Well, I would say behind the excitement, people are calling, people are really reaching out. They want to know more about their city, how they can get involved. We also launched a volunteer program. We see a lot of our residents wanting to participate in that as well. So I think the reality of being a part of your local government is important. And I think that's where we're moving to. And I believe that's what we're doing to really set the tone. We are sending out text messages, robocalls, letting them know when key events are happening. So they're involved. And as long as they take part in our local government, that trust will rebuild.
And you talk about the transparency there and of course, some of the things that you're doing, we're going to get to that later, which, my headlamps went on and said, wow, she's doing a lot. Your communications department must be really just bustling all day long.
Very true. Very
because
true.
we're getting the emails and we're getting what you're doing. And one of the things that you're doing, of course, the entire month, this month, is you're educating people about data centers. And we're going to get to that. But let's talk a little bit more about transparency, about the trust. So, Mayor Gumbs, has the city of South Fulton's financial transparency system been fully restored? And if not, what's holding that up?
Well, not fully restored, but there is in phases, and we've had a lot of noise. We had a lot of questions around P card issues. So that is the first phase that we have released out on the website. So you should be able to go in and look at people's council members' P cards or transactions that are taking place throughout the city. And then once we get that phase rolling out all the way fully, then the rest of the transparency model will be released. But it's about the systems talking to one another, and I want residents to be able to see that in real time. But we have released the first phase, which is the P card.
And, P cards are something that we're seeing still to this day.
Yes.
Other jurisdictions are having issues with that. I mean, what are they exactly? If you were to tell people, what are they exactly? What are they for? And what are they not for? What would you tell them?
Well, I would say the P cards are for official city business. So we use the P cards for short-term expenses, but when we are actually paying bills and we put in requisitions into the city, and that's for long-term relationships, professional services, things of that nature.
Have you uncovered any spending practices or any financial problems, Madam Mayor, that require correction at this time?
I would love to share that with you, but I will in another form.
Okay, well, I guess we know the answer to that question, everyone. And thank you so much for listening to this edition of Atlanta Up Close. She's here, everybody. The mayor of the city of South Fulton, she was sworn in on January 5th. So have you found evidence of fraud, waste, abuse, or were those concerns overstated during the campaign? What?
Well, I would say that we are continuing to monitor those transactions that may cause concern. But again, residents can do open records requests. They can get all of the information. And with our P cards, with any transaction, you have to provide an actual explanation of charges. Those explanations are there in all of our transactions.
And what is the information that you think that residents should be able to see online that they currently cannot?
Well, they should be able to see where their tax dollars are going in real time. That is something I truly believe in. If we are swiping the P card, that should pop up, and they should be able to say, well, what did this council member, why did they go to this restaurant? Why did they do this and why did they do that? But there's an explanation for everything. I know there's a lot of challenges right now with local government and P card usage, but I will say that South Fulton is doing the right thing. We've gone through a lot of P card audits. We have a compliance officer that monitors our P cards and our transactions. And you can't use your P card if you're out of compliance. That's just simple. They shut it off. So at the end of the day, South Fulton right now has put in those guardrails to make sure that we don't have additional issues with P card spending.
How's the city doing financially right now?
Financially, we're doing extremely well. Extremely well. We are in the black. We are doing things that the residents have asked for. We have our public safety buildings that are coming online, as you know, $96 million, where we're getting a public safety building off of Old National and a new fire training headquarters off Cascade Palmetto. We're being creative in what we do, especially around small businesses and driving revenue to the city.
So you're satisfied, Madam Mayor, about how the taxpayer money is being spent?
I am satisfied. I want to make sure that residents have that information at hand. We are going through our budget session now, so we've just released our budget meetings coming up for August, so residents can come and look at the budget that we are forecasting for 2020, fiscal year 2027.
Any areas you feel you could save money?
There's a lot of areas I think we can save money, but we also have to look at how we're getting information out to our residents. I think that is a way that we can make sure that we streamline the process. But we are streamlining things and we are making sure, but we're still in the black.
We always talk about saving. What about spending more? Any areas where you like to spend more money?
We would love to spend all of the money on great things, because there's a lot of opportunities in South Fulton, but as we often say, you can't have everything. You can ask for it, but you can't have everything. So we're just being fiscally responsible and planning ahead. We have capital improvement projects that are coming up in our 10-year plan. I'm ready for City Hall. I'm ready for some mixed-use developments. We've got some great projects that are coming up, but that all takes time. And we're trying to figure out how we can do strong public-private partnerships to move those developments along.
Everyone, she's the mayor of the city of South Fulton, Carmalitha Gumbs, sworn in January 5th. And you have been working hard, lady.
I have. But I love South Fulton. And Never in a million years have I said, I've shared this with plenty of people. This was not on my bingo card. I never planned to be mayor. I just wanted to help my community. But now that I'm here, I'm going to run with it, and I'm going to make sure this city shines.
What's your daughter saying about all this?
She's a teenager. She's a 24-year-old. She's over it already. So, but at the same time, she's happy, and she wants to make sure that her mother is successful in this role.
Oh, congratulations to you and to your family. So when we talk about the city finances, I mean, are there any contracts or programs, Mayor, that you have eliminated or that you plan to eliminate perhaps?
Well, with the council, that is a team effort.
Yeah.
We are looking at some of that, but at this point in time, we don't have any that are on the record.
All righty. Well, what about any expenditures? Let's say one, for instance. Are there any expenditures that, let's say you inherited it and you may think it was a mistake?
That I inherited.
Yeah.
I think as soon as we get a police chief, we may be able to eliminate having to have someone overseeing our police department. I know that was a big controversy at first. We have a public safety, interim public safety director. So I think that would eliminate some expense at this point in time. Not saying that we don't need a position of a public safety director, but I will tell you that is an expense that will go away very soon once we get a police chief.
Your police response times are good?
Yes, they are.
Okay. So when it comes to officers, firefighters, emergency personnel, you have enough staff?
We do. We could always use more.
Public safety challenges, what are they right now?
Public safety challenges, I would say challenges would be making sure that we, again, have our officers out on the beat. What has happened, and this is one of the good things that I've seen, is that we have a lot of officers now that are out in the community. We have a bike unit, we have an ATV unit, we have our officers in the street, so people see them. I know that was a concern at first, but those were streamlined, and now our officers are more out in the community.
So at this point, we're going to talk about economic development and data centers. And when you talk about economic development, what is your vision for South Fulton?
My vision for South Fulton is to have a robust economic development hub where people are coming to South Fulton. They are spending their money. They want to invest in South Fulton. We get great projects, not the same old, same old. I would love to see, mixed-use development along the Chattahoochee River, which is coming. I would love to see people really coming to South Fulton, planting their stake and saying, this is the greatest city. We're going to invest our money here. So that's what I'm looking forward to. That takes time. As we know, with government, everything it moves at a snail's pace. But my goal is to put that foundation in, that people understand that we're open and ready to do business. Good business, Fulton.
Thank you. Said earlier that you, in this entire month, you're educating residents about data centers. Okay, talk to me about that. Why did you decide to do that?
Well, data centers was hitting us pretty hard. My first act that we tried to get in before I even became mayor was placing a moratorium on data centers because they were moving extremely fast. We have 6 data centers that are coming into the city. I believe 2 are completed. So we placed a moratorium because we didn't understand it. A lot of it was grandfathered in, and I was instrumental in putting the first moratorium in. In that instance, when I became mayor, the council decided to extend it for an additional 3 months. And I believe it was additional 3 months. But what we wanted to do is take the opportunity for those legislators to get trained so we can understand the phenomena of these data centers. And they've done a great job with that before we revise and amend the legislation that we already passed. So that was the goal, and making sure that we have town halls, that we educate them, and we wanted to hear what the residents had to say. And we got a lot of great information in that. So last night we took action after having 2 council meetings where we spent time educating the residents on the proposed changes, letting them know we were addressing the water, the utilities, also the noise pollution, the things that really matters to residents. Location, where are you all trying to put these data centers? So we put these regulations in after fair, thoughtful, and careful consideration, especially from these council members and legislators that were going to these conferences. And we worked. We wanted to be a friendly business opportunity. And that's what we did. We didn't want to say no to data centers, but we wanted to also make sure that we regulated them in a more thoughtful way.
Why do you feel it's important for citizens to come to these meetings that you have?
Well, they got to get the information firsthand. First, you have the opportunity to really engage with your elected official. I think that's the most important thing. You know who your elected official is. You know how to get in contact with them. Ask those key questions. Why are you supporting this? Why are you not supporting this? Please provide this information. Is this going to hurt me? Is this going to hurt my property taxes? So that gives you the opportunity to ask. We have a talk around town where actually the topic is data centers. And that will give our residents the opportunity to interface with the legislators, but also subject matter experts that will be there to talk about data centers. And we will also have our city attorney there that will speak about the proposed legislation that we passed in reference to all of the regulations that we put in and answering those key questions for those residents.
When we talked previously, you had a concern about data centers. You weren't for them. Of course, before you left office as city councilor, you put in the first moratorium. Where does that stand now?
Well, the moratorium, again, as I mentioned earlier, that it is scheduled to expire September the 6th. In that meantime, the council and the sponsors of the legislation had an opportunity to really work with the community, understanding their needs. They've attended a lot of conferences that were focused on data centers. So in that aspect, they brought all of the information back. They came together, and as a council, mayor and council, we've worked together to come up with proposed regulations on all of the things that were concerning to our residents. And then we were able to pass that legislation.
Of course, in order for you to put forth legislation to talk about a moratorium, you had to do a lot of research yourself. What did you find out about data centers that made you feel we need to, curtail what's happening right now?
Well, we know that Georgia is one of probably the fastest growing areas for data centers. I think we're coming in second behind the state of Virginia. So we know that this is a key area. We have a lot of undeveloped land. South Fulton wants to be poised and ready for this type of influx that we're anticipating with data centers. We want to be thoughtful in considerations around the business development, and every good development is not always good for South Fulton. So in our eyes, we wanted to make sure that we truly address data centers because our residents were concerned. And some of the ones that we had coming in, our neighboring cities, we see that. People think it's us, but it's not truly us. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that things are in the proper place and they're not encroaching on residents.
Of course, you have a moratorium, but how are requests coming in? I mean, you're still getting requests, right? We've
had a couple. Most developers know that we are on a moratorium because we did share that information, citywide. But at the same time, I think that once they understand, the position that the city is taking, we won't see an influx. If they meet the requirements from that legislation, they will probably bring it to South Fulton.
All righty, everyone. She is the mayor of South Fulton, the city of South Fulton, Carmalitha Gumbs. Right now we're talking about the data centers. And when you talk about balancing the potential tax revenue that we hear that would come from data centers, Madam Mayor, against the concerns about electricity, water, land use, quality of life, I mean, how do you balance all of that?
Well, it has to make sense. Again, we're not a city that is struggling for revenue, but we want to make sure that we are a business-friendly city and making sure that the investment makes sense, community benefits make sense, and all of the things that are proposed in that legislation. So we're not just going to jump on it because it has a great tax revenue for the city. We want to make sure that it does not truly impede on our residents and that it is good development.
Yeah, I see here you talk about protecting residential communities. Economic development must produce community benefit, all of that. And what concerns you most? I mean, what are you hearing from the residents, Madam Mayor? I mean, when you hold your community meetings, what are they expressing most to you?
They just don't want it. And a lot of that is true. They want to know, what is your position on data centers? And truly what I've shared, and which is why we did the moratorium, is that we didn't have enough information. I think it's important to educate our residents. Truthfully and honestly, this is not the development that I would love to see in our city. I think we have opportunities for much greater things. But we do know that this phenomenon is happening all across Georgia. We see what's happening in other cities and counties across the entire state. And we don't want that to happen in South Fulton. So that's the reason why this legislation, these regulations came about.
We're so happy to have you in here, everyone. She is the mayor of South Fulton, Carmalitha Gumbs. Time is winding down. Why does always time always wind down so quickly when you're talking about us and talking about residents and the quality of life? I mean, are there neighborhoods that you feel need the most attention? What are they?
The neighborhoods that I feel need the most attention are those neighborhoods that this happened before we became a city, are near the industrial area. We want to make sure that we got to understand the impact of these data centers if they are able to relocate. We understand also that, home buyers may have purchased their home in an industrial area. So there are certain things that we have to measure and weigh out. And hopefully, as we move forward and learning more about, data centers coming to South Fulton, we'll be able to address those needs as well.
Affordable housing was an issue, too, that you expressed while you were on the campaign trail. What are you doing about that?
Well, we are looking at developers that want to come and build in our city. We are talking about affordable housing or housing that we can afford. I think that's the biggest thing. I don't want South Fulton to be priced out. I want a community that is collective and that everybody can take a piece and enjoy South Fulton.
So much more we could have talked about. I mean, by the end of 2026, and everyone, we're talking to Mayor Carmalitha Gumbs, by the end of this year, 2026, what is, let's say, one quality of life problem that you want to have fixed?
One quality of life problem is we need to start looking at traffic. Traffic is getting big in South Fulton. Looking at some new transportation models. So we do have the South Fulton Transportation Plan that's coming up. I want all of the council members to truly dive into that. And that's what we're going to be championing. We got to figure out some transportation. We got to address these transportation issues in South Fulton.
What about infrastructure, too?
Infrastructure is super important, and that is a piece of it as well. So we have to be really good partners with GDOT. This is not something that we can do alone.
And my final question for you. When you came into office, you promised unity. UNITY. So how would you characterize your relationship with City Council today?
I would say that we are doing the work. We are working. We're putting it together. We understand that there are challenges, and we're a family. We're not going to always get along or always agree. But what we will do is make sure that we are representing the city of South Fulton to the best that we can, and all of our business. You know what they say? I think my mama used to say it, is that you keep your business in-house. But we are working to collectively be a community. And as you can see through our pictures, a lot of activities, we are doing the work. We're doing the work.
City Hall morale seems to be great.
It is great. And we want City Hall to be a place where people really want to come and just hang out. I also want to create a business where we can get our people to want to come and work in South Fulton. That's another thing. We need to get good quality talent in South Fulton.
Okay.
And we're working on that.
And Madam Mayor, if people wanted to know more and learn more about the city of South Fulton, what can they do?
They can go to our website, which is www.cityofsouthfultonga.gov. You can find out everything that you need to know about the city. You can learn more about events, and you can see all of the great work that we're doing.
And I know that Wolf Creek is popping.
It is popping.
Mayor Carmalitha Gumbs, thank you so much for coming back. You promised and you delivered.
You're welcome, and you can have me back anytime.
And we will.
Thank you.
Everyone, thank you for listening to yet another edition of Atlanta Up Close. And, of course, you can listen to on the Odyssey app. I'm Maria Boynton.